6.5 months ago, I couldn't look anybody in the eye. I was walking around staring at the ground. So to be looking at all of you right now is a little overwhelming. But you know what? God's got me. So let's do this. I was here to tell my story, and it begins. I was born November 7th, 1969, in Cornwall, and yeah, that's one strike. But I was smart at 2 weeks old. I was adopted, and I moved out of Cornwall. I was adopted by David and Laura Jorgensen, two of the most amazing people I know. Very blessed to have been able to call them mom and dad. They're amazing people. I grew up on a 200-acre dairy farm. It was like a 200-acre playground. I had a river ran through it. I was fishing. I was hunting. You couldn't ask for anything better. I have one sister who's younger, who's also adopted. And my family life was amazing. My mother and father went to church on Sunday. My dad worked hard every day. If I wanted to hang out with my dad, I had to go and work with him, But I got to play all the sports. I got to do all those things. And, at the age of 9 to 11, I was sexually abused by a friend of the family. And that happened in on a dairy farm. My dad's milking cows, and when you're milking cows, you can't leave the milking to do anything else, to go see what's going on or anything. And this man took advantage of that, and I'd be in the other parts of the barn, and he would come and whatever. And I share this because later years, I felt entitled, like I wasn't protected, like I wasn't taken care of, that they owed me something. And for many years, I put them through hell. I went from this happy-go-lucky kid to resenting and rebelling and living in a fantasy world because I could not live in my reality. I looked for any escape I could. By the age of 14, I found alcohol and pot. This is only 10 minutes, so I gotta, keep it pretty vague. But by the time I was 18, I was introduced to cocaine by a manager at a gas station I was working at, and I fell in love. That was by 6 months. My nose was so messed up, I had to, he then introduced me to freebasing it, and that was a whole nother level. For the next 10 years, until I was around 28, I was able to keep it together, work. I was able to work, but my weekends were, I basically didn't sleep. I was partying the whole time, and at the end, around 28, 29, I was working for hauling cars, driving a car carrier. I wouldn't use during the week, but when I come home on the weekends, I wouldn't sleep till Monday morning, and then I'd go early, pick up my truck, and I'd go down the highway and, pull over and sleep, and then carry on with my day. And I ended up with an injury at work. I was tightening down the cars. At the end, I couldn't even open my hand to let go of the bar. I had to pry it off with my other hand, and I got torn ligaments in my wrist where they operated but couldn't repair them. And so when I wasn't working, my addiction took a whole nother turn. And I had a girlfriend at the time where we were about to buy a house. And my addiction was so bad. Like, I remember the guy at Total Cartage where I was working was a Christian, and he would come over and he'd be like, "What's going on, man? Why did you disappear for another 3 days?" And I'd be crying my eyes out going, "I don't know, and I don't know how to stop." And I remember that hopeless feeling, and I promised never to do it again. And a week later, I was doing it again and not knowing why. And anyways, my girlfriend at the time told me maybe I should move to Toronto, get away from my problem. Little did she know I was going to do it. I moved to Toronto. I called my cousin in Rockwood, and he said, yeah, I can move in with him. And I moved up there, and I ended up finding Narcotics Anonymous up there. And I was in and out of Narcotics Anonymous for 12 years. I worked through the steps twice. I had 22 months clean, 14 months clean, 10 months clean, 9, all these different increments. But, you know, I realized today what I wasn't doing was, when it comes to step 9, making those amends, I might have made one small one, but I didn't make the ones I needed to. And when it comes to doing a step 10 on a daily basis and, you know, promptly admitting when I was wrong and finding somebody else to help, I definitely wasn't doing that. And there's no step 11 prayer and meditation in my life for sure. So, you know, I got to the point after those 12 years of, you know, hurting a lot of people and letting a lot of people down, especially myself. I moved back here. And when I moved back, you know, I went to a couple meetings, but nobody said hello. So I was like, well, these aren't the same. And I, you know, I'd work in Ottawa and I'd go home and I'd sit by myself and I'd get high and I'd come back to work the next day, and I did that for a while until things got progressively worse. At 48 years old, I decided to put a needle in my arm, and wow. Shortly after that, my mom passed away. She had was diagnosed with liver cancer, and she had 6 weeks to live. Because of my addiction, my family wouldn't let me stay overnight with her. I'd come visit during the day. When she passed, I wasn't allowed to stay with my dad, who was in a wheelchair at the house. And I felt like family kind of giving up on me. I wasn't part of the family anymore. I remember... So, being enabled my whole life, they didn't know how to deal with addiction. My dad would say, just stop. And, you know, I tried. I couldn't. But after my mom passed, my sister became trustee. And all of a sudden, I was cut off everything. And the last 3 years of my life have been spent... majority of that homeless on the streets in Brockville. They did help me get to a treatment center last year. They signed me up for Jericho Road twice, and I said no, I wasn't doing a 9-month program. You know, I wasn't that bad. Yeah, it sounds a little crazy now. But anyways, so I went to that treatment center. They wanted me to stay 3 months. It was $15,000 a month. I didn't get what I was supposed to get the first month, and I said I wasn't wasting another $30,000 of their money. So I got into Jericho Road here. I ended up relapsing not Jericho Road. Sorry, we're totally wrong. Gladstone House, transition house here in Ottawa, and that's how I ended up in Ottawa. And I got kicked out of that transition house for using, and I ended up in a shelter. And I spent, I at that shelter till April. Since April, I have, April of last year, I was homeless. I slept in tents, I slept on sidewalks. And fast forward to January 8th of this year, I was sleeping on the side of Rideau Street, 145 pounds, 5 inches of hair, 3 inches of beard. Shooting fentanyl, which I've died 30 times from, and been brought back with Narcan. You know, this is how God works in my life. I've been banking since before there was bank machines, and it ate my bank card in December. In January, was given a housing worker from Salvation Army. And that housing worker came out to see me, and it took me to the bank to try and get money, and I couldn't get any money out, so I was dope sick. This housing worker, when I was sitting in his car, I looked at his phone. I said, "Can I borrow your phone?" And he said, "Yes." And I borrowed his phone. I called my sister. I asked her if she'd come and get me, and she did. She took me to her house for 3 days. I was so weak I could hardly walk. I ended up in detox for 7 days. Billy Buffett for 5 weeks, and on the 1st of August, have been at Jericho Road for 5 months, and where I'm at today is nothing but for the grace of God. I shouldn't be alive today. And today I'm able to help others. I still go down and talk to those homeless people on the street because they can relate to me, they trust me, they know me, and it gives me an in with them. And to be honest, they don't even recognize me today. I don't recognize myself, and it's still kind of, I got to pinch myself once in a while to see if this is real. And I want to say thank you to Jericho Road, all the staff, all the guys that are in Jericho Road, and everybody that has helped me the last 6.5 months. I'm 6.5 months clean. God bless everybody here tonight, and I'm about 12, 13 minutes now, so